motherhood is not always enjoyable.
Okay.
There are hard moments, and that doesn't make me a bad mom.
There's no trophy for being a strong mom. Like, take time.
It's the politics of motherhood.
Welcome to the Politics of Motherhood.
Because everyone has an opinion about motherhood.
I'm Lynette.
And I'm Washuka.
And today, Washuka, we want to talk about interesting things about motherhood.
Okay.
But before we get into that, motherhood can be so complex, and sometimes it's ups and downs. And every so often, you just want that one win, that thing that you accomplished in a day, whether it's you or it happened to you, and you just feel like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Yeah, and those big wins keep you going as a mom.
They do.
It's a roller coaster of a journey. So my big win this week is I've been leaving the house without my baby crying.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
When you can detach and just be like, bye, and see you later.
I don't know what changed. I don't know if it's because of the new nanny or it's just a matter of age, but he's just not crying. In fact, he'll open the door. He's like, have fun, mama.
Yeah.
Bye. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm happy about it, but at the same time, I feel sad. Like, why are you not crying anymore?
Being replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is really important because it also allows you to be at peace when you go, and you're not just there like thinking about it like, or feeling guilty and having to overcompensate, be like, now I have to come back with a lollipop. Now I have to come back with something.
Yeah.
That I got this week that can calm him down or can make up for me being away. Or you keep calling back home and be like, is he okay? Did he stop crying? I
agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm happy. So the big boy is becoming bigger.
Perfect.
And what is your big win?
My big win this week is nothing that I did, but my kids one goes to school, the other one starts this month, but so they're on break and they have loved playing with each other. In the morning, instead of like coming into my bed, I just hear them laughing and running around in the living room. And
I look forward to that.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Sometimes you also feel a bit left out because you're like, should I go and join this fun? They sound like they're having so much fun. But for me, it is at a certain level, you want a level of independence with your children. You want them to
that's the point,
love
right?
each other and, have each other. So having them as playmates and, seeing them so happy and, they came up with this train dance. So there's a lot of chaga chaga choo-chooing in the house.
Yeah.
And this morning they had organized these little stools and they had a scooter and one was the train driver and they had a pump. So they were so innovative about it. Like there was a pump and they're like, Mama, this is the one that blows the smoke. And, this is the driver. And it was like, oh, look at the two of you leaving me alone. So cute.
Yeah. That's awesome. I definitely look forward to when my kids, or rather when my son has a playmate now.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be his everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very fulfilling.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. I
can imagine.
Sometimes
Such a
I wonder
joy.
about, so I'm pregnant with my third.
Yeah.
And sometimes I really wonder about, how that dynamic will be and whether they will, bring the third along to, their games. Hopefully they won't be too grown, and be like, oh, that's the baby. We don't care. And then I'll be back to like, nah, I need to get you a playmate. But anyway, no. Yeah. And question. Do you have any tips for moms who are listening to this podcast?
Yeah. So since I'm now in my third trimester, almost coming to an end, there's something that I did when I was having my first baby. And I started applying nipple cream as early as third trimester.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it helped so much because I didn't get cracked nipples when I was breastfeeding.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
I have never thought about the application of nipple cream that I know beyond for breastfeeding is using it as lip balm, which is so amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's so moisturizing.
I'm gonna have to borrow that from you.
No, you have to. It works. It works. I
did
not even have cracked nipples for a day when I breastfed.
And this was with your first child.
Yeah, with my first
which
child.
Is like breastfeeding with your first child is the get-go because of cracked nipples. If I don't remember like bathing pain, but I remember cracked nipple pain.
No way.
Yes. I remember
it was that bad.
It was so bad. sometimes my child would cry, the first one.
Yeah.
The second one wasn't so bad. And when she would cry, it was like an out-of-body experience. Because sometimes I would ask, whose baby is that? Who's crying? Because I couldn't get myself to accept that I'm about to put her on my nipple because of how painful it was. And it took like, sometimes I'd get a nudge from the husband being like, hey, the baby's awake. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my baby. So this is very useful. So
Try
for
it.
any new mom out
Yeah.
there, this is
Try it.
definitely a game changer.
Yeah, it is definitely.
Oh wow, that is
Yeah.
great.
Cool.
Yeah, and my useful tip is we're getting into August now. It's very early days of August, but July has been really
It's been
cold.
so cold. I
Very,
think
very
it's been the coldest July.
yeah,
ever.
and it's still cold, and we're in August. I mean, the universe needs to change something. But before, during our winters, and sometimes people in the global north are like, Kenya has winter. Okay, yeah, but during during our winters, which are brutal, I used to use water bottles in our beds.
Yeah.
And after like a few years of use of water bottles, you start to feel the rubber smell.
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
burning. And these days, there's a lot of like research coming out about how unsafe it is because of the water pressure and it could explode and everything. But this July, I started using fleece blankets as bed sheets. And it keeps the bed so warm. You actually do not need a water bottle. So if you have a fleece blanket, you know those throw blankets you have in the living room, just put them down as your bed sheets, and then everything is good to go. So,
As your bed sheet.
yes, as the bed sheet.
Oh,
So
not
you
a
put
blanket?
No, as a blanket you will burn because it's gonna be too
Yeah.
hot. Just as a bed sheet. And there's a lot of like physics and the statics and everything, and it just keeps the bed really warm.
Okay.
So that's what I've done with my kids. It's what I have in my bed, and it just works.
It
out.
works?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Perfectly.
That's a cool tip.
Yes.
That's a very cool tip.
Perfect.
Yeah. So we get into our conversation for today.
Let's do it.
Before you became a mom, so your first pregnancy, of course, you got married. I believe so.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So how did you decide when to have kids with your husband? Is it something that you've always wanted to do, or you've always wanted to be a mom from when you were a young girl? Like, how did you make that decision of what time, when is the right time for you to, to be a mom?
That's a really good question because I know a lot of people not necessarily struggle, but they really think about it. You know, it's part of family planning.
Yeah.
How do we do it now that we're married and everything? I wouldn't say I've always wanted to be a mom. You know how people say even when I was a child, I knew I wanted to become a mother, or most recently, maybe I'm not setting a good example as a pregnant woman, but my oldest daughter is like, Mama, I don't want to ever be pregnant. And I'm like, wait, what? Why? What have I done? What have I shown you? But granted, like myself and two of my other neighbors, were pregnant at the same time. One just had a baby. So maybe she was just like too many pregnant women. But I've never had like that, what I'd call an urge of like, oh my God, I want to be a mom. Like, but I knew I wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
But it was never like an active thought in my mind. I'm the last born in a family of 8. So maybe there was a part of it that was expected. That like that's what you do as a woman. You grow up, you go to school, you get a job, and you become a
It's a
mom.
way
You
of
get
life.
married, you become a mom. And of course that's not everyone's reality. But yeah, so for me, I got married, and shortly after I found out I was pregnant.
Oh.
And
Honeymoon baby?
yeah, I think so. I'm not even like I never even took time to like, so when did this happen? And it was like I'd been with my then boyfriend for enough time, and his proposal, of course, was ask your father when I can come to see him. And we have a lot of fun about that. And I was pregnant, and it wasn't like, oh my God, this is not what I wanted, or it was like, but of course this is the natural progression of how a relationship was.
Yeah.
In my family, the age difference is a good 2 years, like within like first, second, third, all the way to me.
To the eighth.
To the eighth. So that is what I knew, and maybe this is why this podcast is also important. It's the things like our aunties, our mothers never told us, like. Why did they space like their children in that way, like every 2 years? You'll hear some people do like 2 years and then 10 years and stuff. Like, what's the formula behind that? So no one told me, but that is what I saw, with my mom, with my aunties. And I was like, okay, so we will space them 2 years. And so we did that with the second one. And then with the third, it was like, okay, we'll do it. And then it's going to be a 3-year difference. And that's it. Okay. But it's interesting. Speaking of mothers, I asked my mom, now that I'm an adult, I can ask the difficult questions.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, so how did you decide that you wanted 8 children?
Yeah.
And she's like, we didn't decide that we wanted 8 children. Your father
just kept coming.
Yeah. According to her, my dad was fine with 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like, it's what the modern families do. You know, 2 or 3 children. And she's like, but she comes from a family of, I think, 11 or 13.
Yeah.
And she was like, but I want more children. What do you mean? So I was like, but they're spaced very perfectly, 2 years. So he wasn't like, no, he was just told that I'm pregnant. Like, as a woman, sometimes that's what you do. You just like, you plan
8
the
times.
family 8 times or 6 more times. And there was someone else on TikTok, well, not TikTok, I'm not on TikTok, but on Instagram, who also like was interviewing her mom. I was like, there's 6, and was like, Mom, so how did you decide that you wanted 6 children? And she said, oh, your father wanted 1. And I was like, no. And I just so maybe there's a formula. Yeah. The mothers out there need to tell us
what their formula
especially
was.
for those who want to have lots of children.
Yeah.
So I initially wanted 4, but after this pregnancy, I think I'm done.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's try for one more.
I mean, don't come to hold me to any account if I come back.
Before
and be
another
like,
one comes.
Oh, by the way, So for me, that's that's really that. How was your experience?
So I got married in 2021. And he was my boyfriend for the longest time. I think by this point we'd been dating for 7 years, if I'm not wrong.
By the time you were getting married?
Yeah, by the time we're getting married. So we decided we wanted to stay for like maybe a year or 2 before we got kids. I don't even know why. Maybe it's just we wanted to enjoy our time together. And in hindsight now, I'm so glad we took that time, because now that we have kids and how demanding it is,
yes,
we just go back to those days like we just used to eat pizza for dinner and it's okay. We could sleep in and
now you have to think about balanced meals.
Yeah, you have to think about balanced meals. Does it have starch, protein, veggies? Hey, yeah, it's a lot. So we took about 1 year and a few months, and then we conceived in 2022. Yeah, 2022. Yeah. So,
and did you know that you want more children, like after the first one, or
he always says the family planning is left on me. So as many kids as I can bear,
yes,
and as I want, he's happy to support. So, and I'm like, good,
let's do it.
Let's do it
in this economy.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, when you asked your mom that question, I remember I've also asked my mom the same question, and I was trying to figure out how many kids I want for myself. And she told me she wishes she could have had more kids, because we're only 2. And she's like, I wish I had more, because her reasoning for having 2 was she thought they'd always be poor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
always...
in her defense, Sauti Sol had not said, mtoto anakuja na sahani yake.
Not yet. They not said that.
No,
yeah.
they not said that. So your mom,
Yeah. So she's like, okay, 2 is comfortable, but also there's an element of she wanted maybe like a bit more, but my dad didn't want. But she listened to my dad.
It's always the dads.
Yeah. And she's like, Washuka, if you can just have as many kids,
yes,
they will be provided for. They'll be fine. So that's one of the things that she says she regrets she didn't do.
I think that's interestingly, the thing that my mom is every so often I have some difficult conversations with her.
Yeah.
And sometimes I ask her, like, what are you most proud of? And for sure it is that I had many children.
Yeah.
That I have all of you, you know. And to be very honest, and this is no pressure
To
for
nobody,
anyone
no.
to have multiple
More.
children. But I have seen how in cases of emergencies and in cases of like that
Death,
need
you know?
death in the family
Hospital
or
bills.
hospitalization,
Yeah.
hospital bills. In 2017 my mom had a massive like medical issue, and seeing how the 8 of us pulled together, like it was magical to watch. And it was, you know, one of those things that you look at and you're like, yeah. And just over the weekend, we went to a friend's family friend's funeral, and we're having this conversation. And it's like there are societies where a whole lineage is just dying because it was, you know, one brother, one sister, or just one child who went on to have one child who decided they wanted to have a dog, and that's just wiped off. And when you look at the crisis now with, you know, population and depopulation of the world, as much as we're told that we are too many, it's like there are societies that are literally, you know, the replacement rate is quite low.
Yeah.
But yeah, just for family, my parents I'm carrying their 18th grandchild.
What?
Yes, my family did not shy away, so they went all in.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah, I watch it. Like I see how excited my kids are to hang out with their cousins. How excited I get to go and see my siblings, as many as we are. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this person in a week, the other one in a month, and like, but there's always a lot of excitement.
There's definitely power in numbers.
Yeah,
And
there
it's,
is.
Yeah, it's fun.
There
I
is.
think.
There is.
It's fun.
Is there anything you regret about like who you were before motherhood and who you are today? Is there anything you regret? Is there anything you're glad you did now that you're a mom? You know?
That goes to the question of who I was before being a mom, eh? Wow. I was just a girl, man.
Just living.
Having fun. Having a good time. Of course, that has had to reduce a bit to being a mom. But not too much, because I get my days when, you know, when I go out. And the cool thing is my husband has always been my fun partner.
Yes.
So we are good.
So wherever he is, there's fun.
Yeah.
So there's no pressure to
we are always
go and fun outside.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I was just having a good time. Honestly, there's no regrets for me, like deciding to be a mom and taking that step. I really enjoy it. I really love it. Like, I've never felt more in my element than I do in this season.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting.
It's really amazing for me.
That's
I really
perfect.
enjoy being a mom.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I've always wanted to be a mom. I remember in high school, some of my friends used to call me mom. So I've always had that nurturing spirit in me. So I guess it was just natural that, you know,
You give mom vibes.
Yeah, I give mom vibes. And I have an actual child of my own.
Can you
own
imagine?
flesh and blood.
Yes.
To get to mother.
I think for me, the biggest regret really is that I did not start early. But it's also one of those things that
I
you have
love
no
that.
control over.
Yeah.
Because then I probably wouldn't have met my husband, who's just an amazing person.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the universe has a code of how things happen. So but maybe because I was like, I could have had more children. I had my first baby when I was 32.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had lived. I'm not a fan like going out person. I've just never been. So for me, it was like pre-children. It was a lot of like I've always been privileged to enjoy my work extremely. So who I was before then was this workaholic person who just really enjoyed like her work and and working, and then with like babies coming, then I had to start creating that discipline of giving to, you know, these little ones, and giving my time, and, you know, giving my emotions, and for a bit it was a struggle disconnecting, because I really love my work. Like I lucky me, I work from home, so I enjoy like being in the office and reading a book, or, you know, being in webinars, or contributing to papers, and doing that kind of stuff. So that's who I was really before children.
You know, you've brought in a very interesting aspect about not having kids earlier, and it reminds me, like, I'm always telling my friends who are having their kids younger that you're so lucky,
Right?
First of all, you have the luxury of time.
Like you can have 10.
Yeah, literally by 35 it
I
could be
think
done.
by the time, maybe my mother was my age when she was having me, you know.
Whoa.
Or earlier.
Yo.
Yeah, so I'm
Crazy.
like, now I can't.
Yeah.
You know, now
Hey,
like,
you'll be well in your 40s,
no,
still giving back.
We are not doing that.
Because the thing is, like, your body carries pregnancies differently.
Very true.
And when you're younger,
Very true.
you're more energetic. You can do more things.
Yes.
When you're in your 30s trying to be pregnant, it is
Oh,
hectic.
tell me about it 3 times over.
I can imagine. It is hard.
It is. I don't remember a lot of maybe because I'm living this particular one now, I don't remember a lot of the pains and aches and discomforts of the first 2. But this third one, has been like every morning I wake up and I have to ask myself, am I in pain? Am I in this? Am I okay?
Yeah.
Do I have a headache? Do I have a backache? Did I sleep with a pillow between my thighs? Did it stay there all night? You know, so with this third one, there's I'm 37. So there's a lot more that comes with it. But when you do it earlier, I think your bones are still very malleable.
Yeah, it's so different. Because I got my first one when I was it was fine, late 20s. And now my second one, I'm in my 30s. And actually, I can feel the difference between the two. My ligaments pain started way earlier. I felt like my pelvic was falling apart in first trimester. Like, I'm like, what is all this? This is
I
not
think
what
maybe
I'm
it's also
used to.
the numbers, because you're much younger than I am.
Yeah.
But it's like we're experiencing the same kinds of pain and discomforts and stuff. So maybe it's the number. Maybe if you're having your first in your 40s, it's not as bad as having your third at 37. I don't think so. We might need to poll this. We might need to ask people what the experiences have been in that.
That's true.
Yeah.
But for sure, what you can agree on, nature is not forgiving.
Right?
Yeah. You have to do the things. You have to do things at the right time, I guess.
Exactly. But also, I think the privilege is now. I'm sure we both know like people who are struggling with infertilities and like especially the longer you wait, with a lot of things changing in our environment, with a lot of things, you know, changing in the things that we consume, the things, you know, that our bodies go through, but generally even our own bodies. Have you had any struggles with like any of your pregnancies in that, like in trying for so long?
So I remember when we got our first baby, my mom felt that we had waited for too long.
Oh, to have the first baby?
She's like, you know, Ashuka, I think you need to go and get checked. There's this doctor who can work with you. I'm like, Mom, I don't think
this is voluntary.
Yeah, I'm okay. Like, it will happen when it happens. And when we went to the doctor, when we now found out that you were pregnant, and we're telling him like, oh, we've been trying for 8 months. Like, 8 months, that's nothing. We call it infertility when it's 1 year. I'm like, oh,
so 4 months to go.
Fine. I'm still fine. Okay, cool. So I in that regard, I wouldn't say I've struggled with infertility, because even this second born, they're also quick succession as well. So yeah, I've been blessed.
What's
in that
the age
regard.
difference?
It's going to be 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, just under 2 years. Yeah. But I haven't struggled with infertility, and I thank God. I believe if that was a struggle that God gave me, I would really struggle with life. So I'm glad that is not my struggle.
Yeah.
But my heart goes out to everyone who struggles with infertility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but for sure, with pregnancies, it comes with their own complications. I've had a fair share of them. One thing that has been common with both pregnancies has been something called subchorionic hemorrhage. Yeah. So, it's just basically a clot in your what are they called? In your membranes, right? In my first pregnancy, it was okay. It just cleared on its own. Normally, that's what happens.
Is this during pregnancy?
Yeah, during pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
So it can actually, when you do a scan, you can actually see a mass of fluid in the
uterus.
In the uterus within your membranes. Yeah.
And it's not a cyst.
It's not a cyst.
Because sometimes, I had forgotten about that. Because I think with the first pregnancy, I had cysts as well. So, and it was like 4 or 5 cysts, and like they're measuring and they're telling you centimeters. And you're like, wait, what, how many, why? And oh, wow.
The mLs of blood in it. Yeah. So with my firstborn, it just cleared on its own. By week 20, gone.
Yeah.
With this one, my second pregnancy, I actually bled. And I thought I was actually losing the baby.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was so tough. Wow. I remember just bawling my eyes out when I'm going to the hospital. I'm like, Lord, don't take this baby. I know, like, I find granted that you're not really planned for them. But once you're there, you're in it.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, you want to have kids, you know?
Yeah.
So you still want your baby to survive, you know? So I remember just crying on my way to hospital. I'm there in the emergency room. They don't seem to be taking me seriously, telling me to take water so they can do a scan. I'm like, guys, just tell me if my baby is okay or not. I don't care about these funny things you're telling me to do. Yeah, so that has been a big struggle. So I was put on rest, on pelvic rest, so I couldn't move as much for several weeks.
Okay.
Just so that everything can resolve. And finally, things resolved.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah.
Thank God. Now baby is healthy.
Oh, let me tell you, it's always scary, like, especially when you've been a mom, hearing like someone has had a struggle, like even just as you're telling this story, I guess I'm guilty for like getting emotional when people are like being kind or talking about like emotional things, because that's really scary, because you feel it for that person, because you know like the hassles and struggles of pregnancy, not necessarily just getting pregnant, but being pregnant, and you've done all these things, and like being at that like age of you could potentially lose this baby. It's a lot. And our hearts go out to like all the moms who are having any struggles or lost babies along the way.
And I remember when now I got to do the scan and I'm seeing my baby move, and I'm like, this is the most confusing diagnosis I've ever received. Because in my head, I was now prepared to lose the baby.
But the baby is there.
But the baby is moving, holding their hands, kicking their legs. I'm like, what is actually going on? And I have a history of miscarriage. I've lost a baby before. So that took me back. It took me back.
When you've been there,
took me back.
You almost start getting ready for that moment.
Yes, exactly. So I'm like, not again. Now I have to start healing.
I guess this is my second plug for why this podcast is important. Because I've never heard of that condition, something hemorrhage. And I'm sure there are people who are hearing it for the first time and who will sit in a doctor's office and hear that is their diagnosis. And kind of just to give that a bit of that hope that it doesn't mean everything is finished, but it's also, get to a specialist, get it checked, and why it's important for these conversations to be had. Because we sometimes really struggle on our own. I remember with my second, I got food poisoning and I did not know, and I haven't eaten a kebab since. I was just craving a kebab, and I went to this place and I got one. I was actually in a supermarket where they were making kebabs, and I was like, this doesn't look safe, but I know where. Like, I really want it. But so I drove to this place and had a kebab, and worst mistake, the very next day, I was in pain. It felt like my body was being cut in half. And went in for scans, and the baby is fine. And then a week later, I was bleeding. And we found out it was because of the trauma that the poisoning had. And being in that moment of, you could actually lose this baby. And like, what, there's confusion, there's like, for a kebab, like, dear God, I will make kebabs for everyone in the world. I will rear chicken and have eggs and, pay for my sins.
Yeah.
And that moment is really, really scary.
It is.
Like, thinking about it. And it reminds me of a conversation, sometimes I've been thinking about. In society, generally, we're told you shouldn't tell people that you're pregnant until the 12th week, just in case you lose the baby. What do you think about that?
I used to believe it.
Okay.
Until let's see, my second pregnancy. So at the end of the day, I just realized that I thought about how I felt when I had my miscarriage, and I felt so lonely because not many people knew about it, right? It happened at the 8th week, so not many people had known about it, and it was so tough. It was so tough going through that journey by myself. So between my husband and I, we decided, when we're announcing, we're going to tell the people that we would like to be with us in case anything happens. That we're going to tell the people who are going to be our support system throughout, if anything was to happen, and throughout that whole process. So we always come up with a list. He has his boys that he tells, I have my girls that I tell, and then there's also like a few couples that we both agree on that we can tell. And to be fair, it's worked. And I genuinely feel like it's just a myth. It's just a suspicion. Like, I don't subscribe to it, in short.
Okay.
It doesn't mean, that evil eye that people talk about. It's now this goes to your beliefs. But I personally believe that God can protect you from anything. If I tell someone that I'm expecting at week 10, doesn't mean that the next day my baby is dying, or they're going to have a deformity.
Or if the baby it doesn't make it, that it's because you told someone.
Exactly. I think I don't subscribe to that school of thought. So we have a list of people that we tell when we want to share the news.
Great.
How about you?
I also don't... I've always questioned where that came from. And I realized that the more I get into like pregnancy content, it's the thing people say, and generally from the global northern type, like, don't tell anyone until it's because you could lose the baby, because miscarriages are very common before week 12. But then again, going back to why we need to have conversations with our aunties and our mothers, it's like, what was culturally, maybe, what was, the practice? Do you tell anyone? Do you not tell anyone? But like you, I totally agree that it's important to be able to be supported when and if that happens. Because I imagine, you're going through this really devastating time in your life, and you can't go to HR and say, I need a few days off because I lost a baby, because HR will be like, you are pregnant? Oh no,
but these days they provide for miscarriage.
But
so you get time off.
But that's the thing, like, sometimes some people are also ashamed of it, because then it's no one knew. So
in the first place,
will I be believed? Your friends don't know, your family doesn't know. And as women, we know how difficult it is when someone goes through that. So the people who can come and comfort you in the right way, for your husband, it's also, I find that for men, it's also a bit external to them until like sometimes when you're showing, then it's like, oh, we're actually pregnant,
Yeah.
But before then, it's still a bit external, and we might put a bit more pressure on them to be there for us in a way that they might not be, ready to be. But also, there's some who are very involved from day one and who feel it, who's there for them. So it's like, are we just there for each other, And sometimes, just like in motherhood, where you need external support as well, I think you need your support system to be there. So for me, as soon as I find out, I don't necessarily have a list, but anyone and everyone I could tell, including the watchman at the supermarkets.
Yeah.
I'm like, no scans. I'm pregnant. I like, I will not go through the metal detector.
Yeah.
Pregnant. I'm like, I milk it for everything because pregnancy is very difficult. Like, even when you make it all the way to term.
Yeah.
So sometimes I watch some of those, reality TVs of, I did not know I was pregnant until I was having a baby. I'm like, how? How did you not know that you were
Missed
pregnant?
all the privileges?
You did not feel the discomfort of sleeping?
Yeah.
So for me, I tell everyone because it's also my protective mechanism of I need everyone to be careful around me, because even the kids, like when you have other children, they're playing dangerously around you and they want to sleep on you and they want to, do all these backflips and stuff. So I'm like, mama's not in that position anymore. So I don't necessarily have like, these are the people I will tell for support, but I will tell someone that I am so that they're more careful around me. So they're also careful with me. So if I'm making a presentation and I start crying,
you understand,
you know why. Don't be like, what happened?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
I think we're slowly moving to a space where miscarriages are just seen as a human experience, as opposed to a taboo.
Traumatic. Yeah. It's becoming more the norm and not the exception.
Yeah, and it's okay to talk about it.
Exactly. And I think I actually do love that more and more women are talking about these experiences, that they had miscarriages, because before it was like, oh, am I the only one is my body failing me? Maybe I'm the failure and stuff. And, because I just lost a baby, versus, oh, this happened to this person. Maybe I can reach out to them for support, because post-pregnancy loss, you also need like medical care, so kind of having that, I find for me is really encouraging that more women are talking about it, because then we can get more research around what is causing some of these things, because I also find that a lot of it is not studied. It's like, oh, okay, women lose pregnancies, nature. So it's nature. It's
doing natural selection. Exactly. Is that what you call it?
I was listening to a podcast just the other day where this lady talked about her experience miscarrying, and she had PCOS, and her doctor had never told her, like, because you have PCOS, it's going to be more difficult for you to carry a baby. It was like she had 4 miscarriages, kept going back to the same doctor. And the doctor just said, yeah, it looks like your body is not carrying this well, so maybe just stop.
Wow.
And then she changed doctors. Jeez. And it was like, oh yeah, you need more of, was it progesterone hormone?
To support the pregnancy.
Yeah. And she carried the baby to term.
Yeah.
4 miscarriages later. Because then it becomes your story. It becomes like, oh, this is who I am.
My body just rejects
babies. Versus, someone who's knowledgeable. And this is by no means like bashing doctors or anything, but it's also for people to take initiative to educate themselves. Unfortunately, we also have to take up that task to educate themselves about like what's going on, is there any research out there, and what can they do, and also to question question your doctor always.
Yeah.
We've seen them partying on TikTok, so question.
No names mentioned, eh?
No names. So question, like, have a conversation, because I find most doctors' visits are like, I'm here for instructions. Tell me, doctor, what should I do? Versus, what happens if I don't do that? And, what else can I do? And let's have a conversation. What have you seen, in your experience, kind of thing. So those things are really important, because they also, as you're talking, someone can remember something. So in terms of pregnancies, I think, it's very important to be careful. And yeah, for me, it's, get a support system, let people know. It doesn't have to be everyone like me, but let the important people know.
Yeah.
Let your mother know, if she's around, because she might know how to support you in case of any issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, baby comes.
The baby.
How was your birth story?
Yo.
You shared a bit of it, and I thought it was so interesting. Like, I felt your story was just cough and baby came.
Well, there was a bit of that, but I think for me, so with the first baby, and disclaimer, everything I say, please, is not medical advice. Do not do this at home. So the first baby, I just had a lot more discharge that morning than usual.
The mucus plug, or?
I don't know. It was just like, panty liner is wet. And it wasn't like, pregnant people would know you haven't peed on yourself. It's like, it's suddenly just,
Yeah.
So I called the hospital, and the person on the other side was like, okay, that sounds like you need to come in for a check. And I went in. In fact, I drove myself there.
Wow.
So I told my husband, and he's like, okay, so let's go.
Really?
I was like, no, like, I'm not in pain. I'm not like, I'm fine. It's just a check. They're probably good. So I had not packed a bag. Oof. Yeah. Speaking of, when do you pack the bags? And I drove myself there. And they monitored, and they're like, yeah, so you are 4 centimeters dilated.
Wow.
And I was like, 4? No, but in the movies, people scream. And they're in pain.
Yeah.
And once again, because no one told me, all my cousins and sisters, shame on you, no one told me about, like, we never had a conversation about, like, this is how you feel and this is how it's going to be. So hopefully, Washuka, today we're going to talk about some of that. But it was like I was expecting this massive pain. And there was no pain. So I was like, what do you mean I'm 4 centimeters? I'm not in any pain. So they said, yeah, so we need to admit you. And I was like, but...
because now you're going to the active stage.
Yeah.
Of labor.
And I'm like, but I don't have my bag. My husband is not here. But maybe the funny part of that story was I had always promised myself that before I give birth, I was going to have a burger from this particular joint, because I love that burger so much. It has an egg, bacon, the beef patty, and the regular burger. But it was just so good. So secretly, I really just wanted to have that burger. So I called my husband. I was like, so this is what they've said, that I'm 4 centimeters. They want to admit me, but I want to go home because I haven't packed. And the doctor was like, no, but you can't go. What do you mean you want to go? And I'm like, so I asked, how long does it take realistically? First pregnancy. Again, not medical advice to anyone. And like, we're expecting that you'll dilate a centimeter every hour. So I say, I have 6 hours. So, and I don't live far.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go, pack a bag, take a shower, then come back. I said, when I came for like a check. I didn't come to give birth. I need to psychologically prepare myself that I'm coming to do this. And I had to sign a document, to just say that I'm being stubborn.
Yeah.
On my way home, so my husband is like, okay, just wait, I'm coming. And I said, no, I'm fine. I'll drive.
Strong, independent woman.
Listen,
Hello.
that person died that day. I am never being the strong, independent woman ever again. So on my way home, I called this joint. I was like, the delivery guy better be at my door when I walk in. And lucky me, they were. Just as I was going up the stairs, the delivery guy was there with my burger.
Yeah.
I went, I had the burger, I took a shower, finished packing, and then we drove to the hospital. And then we were there, we got there, prep, of course, admission takes a while. And I had the baby like 2 hours later. And
Okay, so did you have pain? Because there's no mention of pain here.
oh, yes. Did I have pain? I had pain like the last hour. In fact, I
What?
don't think it was like a full hour. To be very, like, it was so strange because I was like, the movies are lying or this is not true.
Because the narrative is you're screaming.
Yeah,
You're rolling on the
And there are people
floor.
who are in labor for like 24 hours and they're in pain from like centimeter 1.
Yeah.
I think up to like 7 centimeters. I kept asking the doctor, should I be in pain? What should I be experiencing? And the doctor was like, what do you mean you're not in pain? I was like, yeah, I'm 7 centimeters and I don't feel anything. So I feel like my mind started creating pain because I'm expected to be in pain.
Yeah.
And at a point I was like, and I had my firstborn during COVID. So of course everybody is masked and everything. And, there are very few people in like attending to you. And yeah, so I think it was the last hour when the doctor did, is it called a membrane sweep?
Yes.
Or something?
Yeah.
Now that was painful as hell. Now that is when I started feeling the pain.
Okay.
And that was the last hour, literally. Because after that, like it was boom, boom, and the baby was here. And then after the baby, I was shaking. I don't know what that effect is.
Yeah.
You're like
the different hormones.
exactly. And yeah. And for the second baby, it was the same. Again, this time my husband drove me. I was like, the way I feel, let's just go to the hospital. But let's not carry a bag because I still have like 2 days.
Yeah.
I did not know that your EDD does not mean on the exact day. So we went and again, 4 centimeters, again, no pain. Again, silly me wanted to have bajia. Luckily, there was a lot of traffic. So, because the doctor was like, you are crazy. So we went downstairs. There's a restaurant there. Had a meal. Now, during this meal, started feeling pain. I told my husband, now you go home, get the bag. It was packed this time. And he went, and when he got back, I was again in pain for like this time, another hour and a half. And when he got back, like 20 minutes later, I had a baby. And it was, so I am knocking on wood that maybe this, but you want to feel pain because you know something is happening. Because this is how people end up having children while they're just walking.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, oops, what's going on? Like I just had a baby in the bathroom.
The body did a thing. Its thing.
So yeah. So what was your experience?
So let me ask before we go to my experience. Like, were you working out? Like how? Because your labor just sounds so
With
easy.
the first baby, to be very fair, I was a gym rat, like to the end. I was doing CrossFit, I was doing boxing, I was doing everything and anything, but I was also young. With the second baby, I did not work out as much. With this baby, I have just been like, the fact that I am
life.
100%. The fact that I am alive and breathing and thinking about this baby is enough exercise.
Okay, so I guess we'll circle back and
Yes.
see how this delivery will be.
And then we'll report back.
We can be able to
Yes,
see,
yes.
what helped.
Yes.
Okay, so my birth did not go as I had hoped and planned, but it's okay. So I lost my mucus plug on a Sunday, I remember. And I was like,
How do you keep calm when that has happened? Okay.
Just
Just
carry
like
on.
here it
As
is.
in, because I saw it, I actually took a picture and sent it to my doctor. I was like, is this the mucus plug that people talk about?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's happening. Okay. So so I asked him, so what do I do? He's just like, just chill, wait for the contractions to come. So I lost it on Sunday. I got my first contractions on Thursday.
Like 4 days later?
Yes. So it doesn't mean that because you've lost your mucus plug that immediately you're going to
I would
labor.
be in panic mode the whole entire time.
You know, I didn't even think about it.
Oh, wow.
I was just moving on with life. Okay, so Thursday I'm getting contractions. I labor at home. Thursday, Friday, still laboring. But it wasn't painful. It was nothing.
Just like cramping.
Just cramping, and then they're so far apart, and yeah, they're just everywhere. Then Friday they started becoming. So my plan was to follow the 511 rule.
What's the 511 rule?
So you have your contractions every 5 minutes, lasting for 1 minute for a period of 1 hour. Yeah. And at some point it was that 511. So we're like, okay, time to go to hospital.
Yeah.
I had a doula.
Okay.
Just for my peace of mind. So Friday evening we went to hospital, checked in, and then I continued laboring. At this point in time, it still wasn't so painful. I don't remember it being very painful. I was doing my affirmations, listening to affirmations on YouTube, visualizations, all this hypnobathing stuff. And it actually really helped,
Yeah.
and breathing and stuff. So Saturday comes, and the nurses are like, where mama? You don't look like you're in a lot of pain for where you're at. I'm like, yeah, because now I was at 6 centimeters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But you were still not like in
But I was not in
intense pain.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was not screaming like other women in the ward. So I'm like, but just because I'm breathing properly,
Doesn't
I have
mean-
my
yeah.
affirmations, like I'm okay. So they decided to augment my labor so it goes faster. Yeah. So you see, I've checked in hospital on Friday.
Yeah.
And once you check into the hospital, your body is on a clock. You're in a system now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
You're in a
definitely.
system, and it's a money-making system.
It's a conveyor belt.
So
Yeah.
they need to get you out
Yeah,
as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, they put Pitocin, and that's when all hell broke loose with all its demons. And the pain, the contractions were crazy. They were really painful. So I continued laboring on Pitocin for until I got to 9 centimeters. And then as they were coming to check, the nurse realized not all the membranes had burst. Of course, I'd lost some amniotic fluid,
Yeah.
but not all of it.
So the baby
she-
can come.
Yeah. No, the baby can come. The baby can be born encal, actually. They can be born in the
Within
sac.
the... Yeah.
But she was like, okay, let me burst these waters. If they're clear, we continue laboring. But if they're not, we need to rush.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fine. Actually, I'd rather know. So she burst the bags, and the fluid just came out. The greenest green you could ever think of. So the baby has now pooped in the womb.
Yeah.
Now that becomes an emergency.
Yeah.
They stopped the Pitocin drip, because now they need to stop the laboring, so that the baby is safe, because now also his contractions were fluctuating with every contraction.
Because it's getting very stressful
his
for him.
heart rate was fluctuating with every contraction I get. So yeah, so now it became a case of, okay, it's an emergency. We start wheeling her to the emergency, to the theater room, and that's how I got a CS. It was not planned.
At 9 centimeters.
At 9
that
centimeters.
must have been
It
psychologically...
was so heartbreaking.
Yes.
I cried so much. I
can imagine.
Much. And people say healthy baby, healthy mother is what matters. And yes, it does matter. But also the experience that a mom has and how they feel about their birthing experience is so important.
Yeah, because that also kind of scars you. Yeah.
Now I have trauma. Now I'm just thinking, I cannot go to hospital when I can still talk. No, I'll go to the last
At the
minute.
very end.
Yeah, because I want to try for a VBAC.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I think that's also an important, two important things, I think. And I don't know if we are very qualified to talk about them, but maybe we can try from our experiences.
Not medical advice.
Not medical advice.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, one, that interventions do have kind of an impact in that? Because I've had a lot that, when there's that augmentation happening, that somehow people end up in theater, or even with what are they called when you like numb the spine so that you don't feel pain.
The epidural.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The epidural. That in most cases, sometimes like it also messes up something, and then you end up in with a C-section. Do you think that has
I think
an
so.
impact?
I think it does, because I believe the contractions that your body produces are suitable for
naturally
for you. Yeah, naturally are suitable for your birth.
Yeah.
So now when you start augmenting things, increasing the pain, then of course even the baby will go into distress,
because you're like augmenting the mother, but you're not augmenting the baby.
Like what is going on? Like I was okay with the pace that was there. What is happening now? You know? So I definitely think, for me, even for my labor, I think two mistakes happened when I reflect back. One, I believe my labor was not fully established. So I was still experiencing prodromal labor. Because you see, I could talk, I could walk.
You were still
still
energetic.
Yeah. Because the pain I felt after my labor got augmented, my friend, was not the pain that I was feeling when I was
Because the pain
home.
You feel just before the baby comes.
Yeah.
You almost feel like there's another you standing next to you, looking at you, being like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I wish I could take that away, but I can't.
Yeah.
It's kind of an out of body experience. So that one, you were not talking, or you're not walking, or you're not, you just like want to focus on the baby being out.
Exactly. So I think I went to hospital way too early than I should have, because then they put my body on a clock, and labor can take days. It can take days, and it's normal. And your baby will still be fine.
No, I totally agree. And maybe that was one of the things I was afraid of. Like when I think back now, in terms of being in hospital and saying, I want to go have a burger, or I want to go have bajia, was maybe me removing myself so that I'm not put on a clock too soon.
Yes.
Because I'm like, now that you're talking about this, I'm like, maybe that was in that way, not an active thought, but maybe that was like what that was.
Yeah. And I wish also I didn't agree to the Pitocin. I wish I said, what if we wait for 6 more hours?
So having the conversation with the doctor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Because I feel like you always feel the doctor is always right and they know best.
Yeah.
But birth is such a natural process, and it should be embraced as a natural process, and mommy should be put first. So I should have just said, how about we wait for,
because in that
6
moment,
hours,
probably saying, okay, let's look at the baby. Is the baby okay? Am I okay? Is this really what we want to do? What's the rush? I'll pay for an extra night. You know what? I mean, when we go on vacation, sometimes we're like, it's so good, I'm gonna pay for an extra night. Let's change flights. Let's
anyway,
do something.
My money I'm gonna use.
So maybe a conversation to definitely be had. With doctors. So not necessarily, my brother is a doctor, and I remember with the first baby, because he knows I question a lot, he's like, just listen to the doctor. It's going to reduce the resistance, and then it's going to encourage them working with you. But it's also have a conversation. He's a surgeon, and he said, a surgeon's first instinct is to cut. And there are doctors as well, I find, unfortunately, who have a higher rate of C-sections than they do like a natural birth. So their first instinct is, because my first gynecologist with my first baby, I think she had a trip to go to. I was 38 weeks when I went for the 38-week check. And she's like, your baby is fully formed. I'm traveling next week. Would you like us to induce
Wow.
you so that we have the baby before I go?
No, you just go for your vacation.
And I was
girl.
like, are you
Oh,
serious?
guy.
Are you serious? Well, I ended up
No
firing her. But I was
way.
like, that is so for me, that also, and whenever like I see a lot of her posts or doctors talk about their work and stuff, there's a lot more was just in theater, was just in theater, was just in theater, but not enough. I was just in the delivery room and, the baby is here. And of course, this is not to denigrate or to accuse anyone of anything or to make, like, especially mothers who've gone through C-sections, like start regretting it or overthinking, some of the things. But it's just to say, sometimes, yes, listen to the doctor, but also have the conversation, question.
You can research.
Exactly. But for me, like being told, I'm flying out next week. Do you want us to induce? I'm like, that's a red flag. All the red flags.
Out.
Exactly.
I'm
And I
out.
was like, first of all, I'm fine just working with a doctor at the hospital because I also know there's no predicting, when this baby, and I don't want to be on the hospital's clock and on your clock because you're going to be like, I had a date at 8, so what are we doing here? Because then things start moving differently. But let's talk a little bit about the VBAC. What's your thinking about that? Like, how much research have you done?
I've done so much research. Oh my gosh, trying to understand what is safe.
Okay.
For the mom, for the baby. I listen to a lot of stories as well for VBAC moms. There's actually lots of not Kenyan.
Yeah. People don't talk about these things.
People don't talk about these things, but more in the US. And I believe VBAC is actually the safest option for moms. Because you also need to think about how many kids you want to have, right?
Yes.
Because the more you cut on scar tissue.
Yeah, I think the limit is 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's a limit.
Yeah.
And then also, it also increases your risk of placenta accretia, where your placenta now is attaching on scar tissue, and then it becomes a whole other issue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm hoping I get a successful VBAC and I can come to this podcast and talk about it. But definitely, once you embark on this journey, you realize there are very few providers out there that will support you. And one thing that has made me feel at ease and comfortable with my decision is I listened to a podcast a few days ago, and it said doctors are surgeons. They will never give you a natural physiological birth.
So my brother was right.
Yeah. So they always want to go with the option that they can control. Exactly. And that option is a cesarean. So in, out, 15 minutes, done. And we're done. Baby is safe.
No screaming. And
exactly.
But also, just very quickly, I know we need to start wrapping up. There's kind of a trend now of, especially, and I see a lot of it is also, pushed by influencers of, it's easier to get a VBAC, a cesarean birth because you have control. You can decide the baby's date of birth, and that it does not mess up your vagina, and that you don't have to do all that. What do you think about that? As someone who, of course, went in for the natural and then ended up with the C-section, and seeing that, of course, the number of C-sections is really increasing, and of course there are like some crazy emergencies that you have no control over, and listen, mama, like that is your only option, and you have to do it for the safety of you and the safety of the baby. But then that there's this alternate universe where there are people who are just like, I would like my baby to be born on 6/6, or on this particular day, on a Tuesday because it's my lucky day and stuff. Yeah.
Honestly, whatever birth option you choose as a mom is really up to you. But I would always advocate for doing it as natural as it can possibly be.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Because then your body heals faster. It's a better experience for you. And you just get to unlock different levels of what your body can do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's beautiful how we were made.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, like the vagina will expand, it will still go back. It's elastic.
It's a muscle.
It will still go back.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah, I like to keep things as natural as possible, but of course cesareans are life-saving. Yeah. And yeah, when it's an emergency, then a true emergency,
Then
then it's life-saving. But if you can avoid it, I believe try the natural way.
a little fun fact is I am a C-section baby. Yeah, after 7 births, my mom...
Natural,
vaginal, 7 vaginal births. My mom had me via
Cesarean.
C-section.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's she had placenta...
Pervia?
Yes.
The one where this placenta is close to the cervix.
Yeah, it's...
Okay, yeah, that's a true emergency
Exactly,
now. Yeah.
exactly. And for someone who'd gone through that. But I say that to say also a lot of like the fear mongering around like C-section babies is that you're told, their immunity is not going to be good, and because they did not go through the birth canal, there's all these other crazy things that are going to happen to them. And I think I'm a well-adjusted, healthy person. It's not something that I think about. I generally, don't have like medical issues or health issues or anything.
Yeah.
So it there's really no knowing and there's no telling. And unfortunately, especially in the Kenyan context, we don't have, or even in the African context, we don't have enough research. But as we are winding up, we can go to our final kind of segment of the podcast. And that is just very quickly talking about our unpopular opinions about motherhood. Do you have anything that you think is
Unpopular
about mothering and motherhood that could get you into trouble?
Motherhood is not always enjoyable.
Okay.
There are hard moments, and that doesn't make me a bad mom.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yours?
I think mine is there's no trophy for being a strong mom. Like, take time. There are cultures, and I think even in our societies where after birth you stay locked up and taken care of for 40 days. Let's bring that back.
Please.
Like, it's so difficult.
Like, in China they have spas,
Yes.
postpartum spas. I'm like, I want that.
Can someone with a lot of money out there introduce that?
Actually, there's one.
Oh, really?
There's one. in
We'll
existence.
find it.
Yeah.
If that's you, reach out to us. That just rest. Please be taken care of.
You went through.
Stay off the heels. Stay away from people for at least 40 days. Your back will thank you for it. Just
Agreed.
perfect. Washuka, this
That
has
was
been
nice.
fun.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
See you next time.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
It's the politics of motherhood.